Discover the incredible journey of love and loss. A heartwarming tale of the one who remains for. Emily stood at the counter of her bakery, the familiar sound of the doorbell chiming as the first customers of the day trickled in. The warm aroma of fresh-baked bread wrapped around her like a comforting blanket, but it didn't hide the ache in her heart. Memories of her husband floated around her, haunting yet beautiful, as if his spirit lingered within the flour and sugar. He had fought battles that raged far beyond the war, battles that ultimately led to his leaving this world. Tears threatened to spill, but she pushed them down, not wanting to scare away the regulars who needed their morning caffeine fix. "Morning, Emily," Mr. Thompson chimed, his silver hair catching the light as he shuffled to the counter. "2 coffees and a blueberry muffin, please." "Coming right up," Emily replied, forcing a smile over the tremor in her voice. She took his order and poured the coffee, her hands shaking slightly as memories rode in on the steam. Every morning was a bittersweet reminder of the love they shared, now tangled in grief and the demands of single motherhood. With 2 little ones at home, she filled her days with donuts and cookies, even as the bills stacked higher and customers seemed to dwindle. Doubts swirled around her like the flour dust in her shop. Could a woman alone manage her late husband's beloved legacy? Before she could dwell too long, a figure strode into the bakery, bright and foreign against the comforting backdrop. It was Jordan, the wealthy developer with a vision that included their beloved town. His presence turned heads, his smile charming but predatory. He approached the counter and there was tension in the air, a feeling that hadn't been in her shop before. "Emily," he said, his voice smooth like melted chocolate. "I see the potential here. Imagine upscale condos where this quaint bakery stands. We could reshape Maplewood into something truly special." Her heart raced, anger warming her cheeks. "Fight back, Emily. Protect what's yours." But doubts crept in. Could selling really secure a future for her children? "Thanks, but I am not ready to think about selling," she stammered. The weight of uncertainty pressing down on her chest, silence wrapped around her. She noticed Sarah, her former best friend, in the corner. The spark in Sarah's eyes glimmered with ambition, but it felt like a betrayal. "Think of the bigger picture, Emily. You could make a real profit." That betrayal hurt more than any whisper behind her back. Rebranding was food for the future, but Emily held tight to the past. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As the days passed, the bakery flourished under the love Emily poured into it, the laughter of her children echoing through the walls. She found an unexpected ally in Lydia, another single mother who understood the weight of the world on her shoulders. They shared late-night brainstorming sessions that sparked joy and hope within her weary heart, reshaping fears into plans. But just as she gained traction, Jordan offered her a price that made the room spin. The question hung heavy: sacrifice for security, or fight for family roots? What would losing her bakery mean for her legacy and her children? Emily realized that it wasn't just about dough and frosting. It was about fighting for love, not just for the one she lost, but for those she still held dear. The road ahead was filled with uncertainty, but for the first time in a long while, her spirit flared with determination. Would her children's laughter be enough to guide her through the impending storm? Emily woke up the next morning with the sun's rays streaming through the kitchen window, illuminating the flour dust that danced in the air. Today was going to be different. She needed to channel her grief into something stronger than fear. Kneading dough became her therapy, a way to lose herself in the rhythm of her hands, letting the warmth envelop her as her thoughts raced. The bakery beckoned, a sanctuary she couldn't afford to lose. With a deep breath, she opened the door, the bell tinkling like a soft promise. A few regulars shuffled in, their smiles brightening her mood. Mr. Thompson's familiar face appeared first, and she noticed the little spring in his step. "Morning, Emily. I can't wait to try that new scone you've been working on," he said, his excitement genuine. "Thanks, Mr. Thompson. They're fresh out of the oven," she replied, a warmth blooming in her chest. As the day unfolded, conversations filled the small space, Laughter echoing off the walls was the best kind of medicine. The scones, bursting with blueberries and maple sweetness, flew off the shelves. For a moment, Emily forgot about Jordan's offer, lost in the joy of serving her community. Yet, in the back of her mind, the insistent voice of doubt nagged at her. Her gaze drifted to the corner of the bakery, where Sarah sat with her laptop, trying to look busy but more likely plotting. Their eyes met for a brief second, an icy current running between them. Hurt and betrayal, she couldn't shake the feeling of being surrounded by whispers, both real and imagined. Lydia arrived later that afternoon, the door swinging wide as she burst through with an energy that always seemed contagious. "Emily, you won't believe the idea I have." Emily wiped her hands on her apron, ready to embrace the light Lydia brought into her life. They shifted into the back room, where the noise of the customers faded, allowing them to share dreams and plans. "I was thinking, what if we teamed up for a market in the park this weekend? We could showcase your baked goods and my crafts. It'll draw in a crowd and boost sales." Emily's heart flickered at the thought. A community market could be just what they needed. "That sounds amazing, but what if nobody comes?" "Emily, look at us. We're strong women who know how to get things done. Trust the town loves you. You're Maplewood's heart." For the first time that day, a spark of hope ignited. They spent the afternoon planning, a whirlwind of creativity offering Emily the chance to reclaim her joy. But as dusk settled outside, Jordan's face loomed in her mind again. He was relentless, and each thought of him felt like a balloon filled with fear, ready to burst. With the market approaching, she needed to decide what mattered most. The bakery held her husband's spirit, while Jordan's offer represented security. But at what cost? Lydia's voice broke through her turmoil. "You're not alone in this. We'll make it through together." Emily nodded, feeling the warmth of their connection grounding her. The laughter of her children echoed in her mind, a reminder of why she fought. As Emily left the bakery that night, a bated breath danced in the air, a quiet resolve forming behind her tears. She had a plan, and though the path ahead was hazy, she could feel the power of love and community guiding her. What she didn't expect was who would come knocking at her door the very next day. Emily's heart raced as she turned the key in the lock, the sound echoing in the stillness of her home. The morning light spilled across the hallway, yet the heaviness in the air felt oppressive. It was the kind of quiet that belonged to a void, one that reminded her of the emptiness she was fighting to fill. The knock on the door came as a surprise, shattering the silence like glass. She hesitated for a moment, her chest tightening. Who could it be? The bakery had consumed her thoughts, leaving little room for visitors. Still, curiosity drove her to open the door. Standing before her was Jordan. His presence filled the doorway, tall and imposing. He looked different from the man she remembered. The energetic entrepreneur had been replaced by someone more pensive, a shadow of regret lurking behind his eyes. "Emily," he said softly, almost hesitantly, as if he weren't sure what words would come next. "Can we talk?" Her instincts screamed at her to close the door and keep her heart safe. She felt the weight of her decisions pressing down on her, but instead she nodded, stepping aside to let him in. As he crossed the threshold, they both felt an unmistakable shift in the air, a crackle of tension, of unresolved issues clawing their way to the surface. Emily led him into the kitchen, the heart of her home. The scent of freshly baked loaves lingered, a comforting reminder of the life she was trying to rebuild. Silence stretched between them, thick enough to be cut until she broke it. "What do you want, Jordan?" I came to apologize," he began, his voice steady yet burdened. "For everything. I pushed too hard and I didn't consider how it felt for you." Emily crossed her arms, the memories flooding her senses, the discussions over the bakery, the dreams they had shared, and the way his ambition had clashed with her own desire to hold on to what remained of her past. "You think an apology changes everything? That it can erase what happened?" "No, it can't," he replied, his sincerity evident. "But I want to make it right. I still believe in the bakery, in us. In you." He paused, letting the weight of his words settle. "I know we've been through a lot, but I want to help you find your footing again." Her heart wavered at the familiar pang of conflict. She had worked so hard to claim her independence, to turn her grief into resilience. Yet as he spoke, a flicker of warmth ignited within her, a yearning for connection, the thrill of possibility masked by fear. I don't know if I can trust you, she said, her voice shaky. I don't want to go back to that place where we were constantly at odds. I understand, he said, taking a step closer, his weary gaze searching hers. But I promise I've changed. I've learned. Let me show you. Together we could make something beautiful. The possibilities flooded her mind, battling her instincts. Could she really blend their visions into something that could bring back the joy she so desperately sought? The market with Lydia, the fresh start seemed inviting. And yet Jordan's determination felt like an intoxicating lure, one she couldn't dismiss so easily as she hesitated. A sudden thought struck her. What if I say yes? What's your next move? You want to invest again, but what if the bakery's spirit is too important? Jordan opened his mouth to respond, but then paused, visibly grappling with the weight of her question. He had not expected this confrontation, and neither had she. Just then a loud crash broke the moment, a sound that came from the back door. They both turned abruptly. What was that? Emily asked, her heart skipping a beat, anxiety sharp as a knife. Jordan tilted his head, a protective instinct flashing in his eyes. With a shared look, they both moved towards the sound, uncertainty hanging thick around them. What awaited them could unravel everything: her fears, his intentions, and the fragile balance she had just begun to find. Emily's heart raced, the truth lurking just beyond the door. Emily reached the back door first, pausing to catch her breath. The air felt charged, as if the world had collectively held its breath, waiting for the next moment to unfurl. She could sense Jordan's presence behind her, a comforting reminder that she wasn't alone, even if she wasn't sure she could trust him yet. With a trembling hand, she turned the knob and jerked the door open, the sudden light flooding the darkened room outside. Just beyond the threshold lay her backyard, an expanse of wildflowers swaying in the gentle breeze. But the scene of tranquility had been disrupted. A large garden pot lay shattered on the ground, dirt spewed across the patio like spilled ink. Just the pot, she said, relief flooding through her as she stepped outside. But the moment was short-lived. Something in the air felt off, a twinge of emotion that crawled beneath her skin. Jordan joined her, glancing around as if expecting more chaos to follow. Are you okay? He asked, his concerned gaze flicking to her. The sincerity in his voice stirred something deep within her. I'm fine. Just surprised, I guess. She crouched down, brushing her fingers through the dirt. It was still warm from the sunlight, comforting in its familiarity. This was my grandmother's pot. I've had it for years. As she spoke, the memories of her grandmother filled her. The sweet aroma of freshly baked biscuits, the sound of laughter, the warmth of love. The loss had never quite left her. It was woven into every fabric of her life. She felt a lump forming in her throat, a tangle of emotions that had once engulfed her in sorrow. Let me help you with that, Jordan said, kneeling beside her and gently scooping some dirt away. It was a simple gesture, yet it felt monumental, like he was sharing the weight of her grief, even if it was just for a moment. Do you remember when we planted the herbs last spring? She asked, a tentative smile breaking through the heaviness. We thought we could sell them at the bakery. A flicker of nostalgia crossed Jordan's face. Yeah, we had no idea what we were doing. And then the basil took over. He chuckled, shaking his head, shedding some of the tension that had hung like a thick fog between them. But the laughter faded, replaced by the too quick reality of their situation. Emily felt the walls she had built around her heart begin to shift. Could she really think about a future with him again? Would it tether her to the pain of the past? Or could it somehow become a bridge to healing? What do you really want, Jordan? She asked quietly, turning to face him. Are you here for the bakery or for me? His eyes locked onto hers, their depths revealing a storm of emotions. I want both, he replied, his voice raw and intense. But I want to navigate this together. I want to build something worthwhile. Not just a bakery but a future. Her pulse quickened at the idea, yet doubt nagged at the edges of hope. There was so much uncertainty, so much left unsaid. The fear of letting him in again swirled within her, mixing with the desire to reach out again toward love, toward life. Just then, another crash echoed from the front of the house, jolting them both to their feet. What now? Emily breathed, anxiety pooling back into her chest, the moment of connection slipping away as they exchanged a worried glance. She could feel the balance of everything shifting once more. One crash, one sound could change everything again. Would they uncover memories or face new truths? They moved toward the house, hearts pounding. Something was waiting for them that could change their lives forever. What lay ahead could either pull them apart again or weave their paths tighter than before. And in that instant, Emily realized she was ready to confront whatever loomed in the shadows, as long as she didn't face it alone. The door stood ajar, feelings crashing like waves behind it, and as she reached for the frame, uncertainty hung heavy in the air. What awaited them inside could alter the course of their journey forever. Emily took a deep breath as she pushed the door open wider. The familiar creak of the old hinges ignited a wave of nostalgia that washed over her. The space inside, filled with shadowed corners, suddenly felt claustrophobic, as if every secret and fear was ready to leap out from behind the walls. "Do you hear that?" Jordan's voice broke through her thoughts. He tilted his head, straining to listen over the pounding of her heartbeat. It sounded like something or someone was moving around in the front room. The sound sent a shiver down her spine. "Yeah, I do. But what is it?" she whispered, stepping back instinctively. She felt a tug of hesitation, another reminder of the uncertainty looming over them. "Let's check it out," he said, his voice steady despite the apprehension thick in the air. He took a step forward and she followed, drawn to his bravery. They moved deeper into the house, the atmosphere seeming to thicken as they approached the source of the noise. As they crept into the living room, her breath caught in her throat. The old coffee table lay overturned, picture frames scattered, and in the middle of it all stood a small figure, a raccoon, eyes gleaming, pawing at the remnants of the snacks she had left out days before. Relief surged in her like a wave crashing against the shore. A laugh escaped her lips, breaking the tension. "Just a raccoon," she chuckled, shaking her head. It felt good to release some built-up anxiety, to see the humor in the moment after everything that had just happened. But even as she laughed, a part of her heart still ached. Jordan grinned, shaking his head as he moved towards the little intruder. "You scared us, little buddy." He crouched low, trying to coax the raccoon to come closer. In that moment, his lightness reminded Emily of the boy she'd fallen in love with, the adventurous spirit, unafraid and full of life. After a few moments of coaxing, the raccoon finally scurried away, leaving them alone again in the quiet room. The laughter faded and Jordan turned to Emily, the earlier uncertainty returning to his eyes. "See, not everything is as scary as it seems." He stepped closer to her, the distance closing between them. She could feel the warmth radiating from him, the energy crackling in the charged atmosphere. "Yes," she started, but the words stuck in her throat. What was going to happen next? Would she be able to open up and truly let him back into her life? "Emily, about what I said earlier." He began, but before he could finish, the doorbell rang, cutting through their moment like a knife. They both turned sharply towards the sound, attention forming anew. With a hesitant glance at each other, they shifted toward the entryway. Her heart raced again as she approached the door, the echo of her pulse ringing in her ears. Who could it be? Was it someone from their past? A ghost haunting their future? Jordan reached for the doorknob alongside her, and together they hesitated, hands brushing together, a spark igniting between them. All of a sudden, the air felt charged again, as if begging for a resolution. "Are you ready?" he whispered, his breath warm against her skin. The question hung in the air, heavy with possibilities. Whatever lay waiting beyond the door could shatter everything they had begun to rebuild or open the path to their healing. Taking a deep breath, Emily nodded. Uncertainty washed over her, but she felt ready to face whatever waited for them, no matter how daunting. The door opened a crack, revealing the unexpected beyond what she saw. Made her heart freeze as reality sank back in, cold and sharp. Would this reveal bring them together or tear them apart once and for all? The door swung open slowly, the sight beyond it stealing the breath from Emily's lungs. It was a face she knew all too well, a frail figure draped in a worn coat, thin hair struggling to stay tucked beneath a battered hat. "Mom," Emily breathed, her voice barely a whisper. The woman standing at the threshold looked up, her eyes betraying a mixture of longing and fear. "Emily," her voice was shaky, like dry leaves rustling in the wind. Frozen, Emily felt a whirlwind of emotions crash over her. Memories surged forth, laughter around the dinner table, silent tears shared on a family couch, and the night her mother walked out, shattering everything Emily had held dear. Jordan stepped beside her, his presence anchoring her in this storm. Maybe we should, Mom, Emily interrupted, her heart pounding like a drum. What are you doing here? Her mother's eyes filled with tears, reflecting the memories of their troubled past. I've missed you. I didn't come to after all this time? The words burst from Emily, colored by hurt and betrayal. You just show up unannounced like it's nothing? I know, her mother insisted, voice barely above a whisper. But I've changed. I'm trying to make things right. Emily couldn't help but glance at Jordan. His expression was one of concern, a silent question on his face. How could she reconcile with the woman who had left her behind? Her heart raced, torn between the love she once held and the anger that festered. Right? You think you can just waltz back in here after everything? I know it's not easy, her mother replied, stepping closer, hands trembling. But I need you to know I am sorry. Emily stepped back, feeling trapped. The weight of her mother's gaze felt like chains around her heart. Do you even understand what you've put me through? All the years of silence. Jordan's gentle squeeze brought her focus back. Emily, you don't have to do this right now. Maybe I want to, she said, surprising herself. The room thickened with the tension of words unsaid, emotions unexpressed. Her mother took a shaky breath. I've been in therapy. I'm trying to understand my mistakes. Does that fix everything? Emily started, the sorrow boiling in her chest like a volcano ready to erupt. Does that erase the hurt you caused me? Her mother winced, visibly shaken. No, but I want to be a part of your life again. I want to build something new. With each passing moment, Emily felt like she was walking a tightrope, balancing between two worlds, one of deep-rooted love and another of unresolved pain. I don't know if I can trust you again, she finally said, her voice trembling. Jordan nodded, burying the uncertainty in his eyes. You don't have to decide everything now. But what if this is my chance to heal? Or she glanced at her mother, filled with both regret and hope. Or to get hurt again, right? Her mother's voice trembled, but determination shone through. Just give me a chance. Emily knew this moment could shift everything. Could she really open the door to her past? Or would it lead to more heartbreak? The silence grew heavy, thick with all the unsaid words and all the choices that lay ahead. Before she could respond, the door creaked wider, revealing the extent of her mother's vulnerability and desire to reconnect. Please, her mother's voice broke. Let us not be strangers anymore. Just as Emily contemplated her next move, a loud crash came from deeper in the house, snapping her back to reality. As fear flickered in her chest, she turned to Jordan. What was that? They both shared a glance filled with urgency. Maybe the past was just the beginning of trying to piece together a future. Or perhaps, this was just the start of something even darker lurking behind their memories. In that instant, Emily knew she had to make a choice, not just about her mother, but about everything that was yet to unfold. What awaited them beyond those walls? Would they confront shadows of the past together? Or would the next revelation plunge them deeper into despair? Fear surged through Emily as she turned back to face her mother, who seemed just as unsettled by the crash. The once familiar hallway felt foreign, shadows creeping along the walls as if hiding secrets. Stay here, she whispered to Jordan before stepping cautiously into the dim light of the living room. Her heart raced with each step, tension coiling tighter in her chest. What was that? Her mother asked, glancing around nervously. I don't know, Emily replied, her voice steadier than she felt. The crash echoed in her mind, reminding her that more than her family was at stake. Something deep and untouchable was moving just outside their grasp. Together they moved forward, the air crackling with unsaid words and fear. The living room looked the same, but beneath the surface, everything felt broken, like shattered glass waiting to cut. Then Emily saw it, a picture frame on the floor, glass shattered, the photo of them as a family now a jumbled mess. The ground felt unstable, and she bent down to pick up the pieces. This used to be us, she murmured, her voice cracking. Her mother knelt beside her, fingers brushing against the remnants. I remember that day, she said softly, eyes glistening. We were at the park. You wore that silly pink hat. Emily's breath hitched. You were happy then, she stated, hurt lacing through her voice. And you left us. I know, her mother whispered, shaking her head. But I'm not asking for your forgiveness yet. I just want to be here now. Suddenly, Another noise broke through the quiet, the unmistakable creak of the floorboards behind them. They both turned, hearts pounding, as a figure began to emerge from the shadows. "Who's there?" Jordan called out, stepping protectively closer to Emily. The figure was familiar yet foreign, eyes shadowed and unreadable. "It's just me," a voice came, sending a jolt through Emily. It was her father, a man she hadn't seen in years. A twist in the web of her life she thought she was finally unraveling. "What are you doing here?" she demanded, confusion battling anger in her voice. He looked older, more worn than she remembered, and for a second, her heart softened, but only for a second. "I just wanted to see how you were," he said, avoiding her gaze. "I heard about your mother. Thought you would what?" Emily interrupted, her breath quickening. "Come, charge back in as if things could be fixed so easily? You both abandoned me." Her father glanced at her mother, searching for support in a moment that felt very much like a brewing storm. "I can't change the past." "None of us can," he said, voice trembling. Her mother reached out, trying to bridge the gap between them, but Emily stepped back. "No more excuses. No more apologies," she breathed deeply. "Why are you two here now?" The intensity of the moment enveloped them like darkness, and Emily could feel a choice hovering before her once again, the choice to reconnect, to break free, or perhaps face the deeper secrets that held sway over their lives. She stood there, caught between the two. Fear and a flicker of hope clashed inside her. She felt the walls closing in, but she also sensed a path, dark and tangled. In this moment she realized, it wasn't just about her mother's return or her father's presence. It was about facing the ghosts that haunted them all and understanding what it would take to move forward. And as they stood together, estranged and raw, Emily knew that this was just the beginning. Would she embrace the unexpected reunion, or push them away for good? The answer hung heavily in the air, ready to change everything. The air felt thick, hazy with emotions that had lingered far too long. Emily's mind raced, each heartbeat ringing in her ears like a frantic drum. Her father stood there, uncertain, his shadow mingling with her own and her mother's, bridging an abyss carved by years of absence. Emily, her mother's voice broke through the silence, hesitant and fragile. "Can we talk? Just the three of us?" "No," Emily snapped, anger punctuating her words. "You both think that just showing up makes things better? You left me. What do you think I'm going to say? Welcome back with open arms?" She felt Jordan's hand on her back, a comforting presence as fear tangled with fury. But she couldn't look away from the two people who had defined so much of her pain. Her heart broke to see them this way, void of the connection she once craved. "We didn't know what to do," her father said, his voice cracking. I thought giving you space was best." "Space?" Emily echoed incredulously. "You left me alone. You didn't think that could be a little more damaging?" Her voice trembled with frustration and hurt. "I know we can't change the past," her mother interjected, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "But we can still talk about the future. About us. About healing." "Healing?" Emily scoffed, unable to mask the bitterness. "You think a little conversation fixes everything? Look around. Nothing is whole anymore." As she spoke, she picked up another shard of glass, holding it between her fingers like a weapon. The light caught the jagged piece, reflecting it into a million different directions, beautiful, yet dangerous. It was a perfect metaphor for their family, shattered yet glimmering with misplaced hope. "Maybe it's not about fixing what's broken," her father said quietly. "Maybe it's about understanding how we got here. Together." Emily's heart twitched. Did she want to understand? Did she want the pain of unearthing memories? She hesitated, glancing at Jordan. He just nodded, silently encouraging her to explore this unforgiving terrain. "What do you want from me?" she finally asked, her voice barely above a whisper, brimming with uncertainty. "Just a chance," her mother said. "A chance to explain, to give you answers." "Answers?" Emily shot back, unable to mask her skepticism. What answers could justify your absence? Behind her, the shadows deepened and the walls seemed to close in. The weight of their history felt immense, each moment of neglect crashing onto her chest like a tidal wave. But a part of her, a tiny flicker, felt desperate for answers too. "I want to tell you why I went," her mother continued, her voice steadying. "There are things you don't know, things I've never shared." Emily felt the tension shift. Her pulse quickened, threading through threads of fear and intrigue. This wasn't just a reunion. It was a call to confront the past, to unearth buried secrets. And deep down she could feel the hunger for truth stirring. "Why now?" she asked, her voice a thin line between challenge and curiosity. "Because it's time," her father replied. "And because we're scared too." The atmosphere thickened, unbearable silence stretching between them like a chasm. Heart pounding, Emily sensed the precariousness of the moment. Would she dare to peer into that abyss? As her mother's eyes locked onto hers, filled with a mixture of worry and hope, Emily felt something shift inside her, perhaps the first crack in her armor. "Maybe I'll listen," she whispered. But as she took her first tentative step toward them, ready to confront the ghosts of her past, a loud crash erupted from the back of the house, shattering the fragile moment once again. "What was that?" Jordan's voice cut through the tension, eyes wide with fear. Emily's heart dropped. They had brushed against something profound, but now they were pulled back into chaos. Was there more at stake than she realized? Something lurking in the shadows? And she couldn't shake the feeling that they weren't done facing their demons yet. Emily froze, the sound vibrating through her bones. A tense silence hung in the air for a heartbeat before chaos demanded attention. "Stay here," Jordan instructed, his voice steady despite the unease creeping up his spine. Without waiting for her response, he moved toward the source of the noise, a darkened hallway that loomed like a recurring nightmare. "Are you insane?" Emily followed, annoyance and panic bubbling up inside her. He turned to her, beads of sweat beginning to form at his temples. "I can't just let something happen to you, Em." His protectiveness ignited a flicker of warmth in her chest, but the dread outweighed it. Her heart raced. A year's worth of unresolved emotions felt precariously balanced, and one loud crash could send it spiraling. "Jordan, wait!" she called after him, desperation coloring her voice. He hesitated for a moment, looking back at her, then continued down the hallway, his footsteps echoing. "Please be careful," she whispered, though the plea hung unanswered behind him. Taking a deep breath, she glanced back at her parents. They stood frozen, expressions etched with uncertainty, like deer caught in headlights. The weight of the moment sidled between Emily and them, a tangible reminder of years gone by and the shark-infested waters they were wading into. "Why did you come back?" she demanded suddenly, her voice surprising even herself, raw with emotion. "What changed?" Her mother stepped forward, her frail figure trembling. "We were scared too," she admitted, eyes glistening. "But leaving was easier, Emily. Easier for me. For us. What could possibly be easier than facing your own child?" Emily shot back, the fire in her heart stoked by bitterness. She felt the shards of glass still pressed into her palm, but it wasn't anger she held within it. It was a fierce yearning for clarity. "This wasn't about you." Her mother's words came out softer now, layered with guilt. "I thought I was protecting you. Protecting us. By vanishing?" Emily's voice cracked. "You think that made anything better?" But before her mother could reply, another crash echoed through the house, this time more thunderous. Emily's pulse quickened and dread pooled in her stomach. "Jordan!" she shouted, but her voice felt small in the growing void. She took a step forward, a part of her instinctively wanting to flee, but something deeper rooted her to that very spot. The living room felt both familiar and foreign, each moment replaying like a film in her mind. "Maybe we shouldn't be doing this," her father said quietly, eyes flitting from Emily to the hallway. "Maybe we should just know." Emily interrupted, her heart racing. "I'm tired of running away. This isn't just about you, nor just about me." She pointed toward the hallway. "Whatever's coming, we face it together. Like a family." Jordan reappeared at the edge of the hallway, breathing hard, but his expression told her he hadn't found the source of the noise. "It might be the storm, there could be loose shutters," he said, trying to sound confident, but the uncertainty in his voice rang louder than any crash. And just like that, everything shifted back to the present. The quiet between them clung thick, complicated by the past and the promise of something more yet to unfold. "Are you both ready?" Emily asked them, her heartbeat in sync with the upcoming storm raging outside. But even as she gathered her courage, Emily knew that something intangible still loomed just beyond the edges of their reunion. Something unsaid, hiding in the corners of the house, just like their emotions. "Let us go," she whispered, grounding herself in the moment. They could either choose to unearth the buried monsters or let them consume them whole. As they strode toward the pulsing uncertainty in the shadows, Emily felt the courage building within her. What awaited them was unknown, but the urge to uncover the truth surged like electricity, urging her forward. And just then, another sound, a low growl, like an unholy whisper, broke through the tension as the door creaked open, revealing what lay beyond. "What the hell is that?" Jordan gasped, eyes wide. Emily's breath caught, her heart racing with a mixture of fear and thrilling anticipation. What awaited them just outside that door could change everything, even her newfound resolve. Would they finally confront their demons or fall victim to whatever lurked in the night? The door swung wider, creaking on its hinges, revealing a whirlwind of chaos tearing through the kitchen. The wind howled through the gaps, a tempest breaking in from the storm outside, rattling the windows and stirring up everything Emily had kept buried inside. The swirling shadows felt alive, wild, much like her fear. "Stay close," Jordan ordered, his protective instincts sharp as he stepped forward. Emily followed, heart pounding like a drum. Whatever was inside this storm, they would face together. "Mom! Dad!" she called back, feeling the electric tension in the air. They moved as a unit, weaving through the dimly lit hallway where memories tangled around their ankles, trying to pull them back into the past. Emily caught glimpses of her mother's trembling fingers, her father's eyes flickering with uncertainty. "This isn't just about us anymore," she exclaimed, pushing forward. The storm had shattered their old lives, but in the wake, there was potential for something new. They burst into the living room, and the wild gusts sent papers flying, debris swirling. A figure emerged from the chaos, a raccoon, plucky and bewildered, searching for a place amidst the tempest. "Well, that just figures." Emily laughed, relief winding through her chest. The tension began to lift as the ridiculousness sank in. "This isn't a horror movie. It's just a raccoon." She turned to Jordan, who smirked, eyes sparkling with recognition of shared humor amidst the madness, but the laughter was short-lived. Emily turned back to her parents, still standing in the shadows. "We've all been searching for something, answers, connection, acceptance. But what if the storm isn't our enemy? What if it's what will pull us together?" Her mother stepped forward, her face lighter with recognition. "You're right. We've let the storms of our past dictate too much. Maybe it's time for a change. A real change." With that, Emily felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. Maybe she could rebuild something together with her parents if they could finally confront what had kept them apart. Jordan's hand found hers, squeezing tightly as if to remind her she wouldn't face this alone. The storm outside raged on, yet within her, the sparks of determination ignited. "Let us clear this mess out," she said, gathering her family around. They worked side by side, each movement a silent promise to face the storm, to turn their backs on the past while moving toward something brighter. The chaos that had felt so daunting now shimmered with possibility, turning all their frustrations into shared laughter against the wind. Finally, with the kitchen tidied up, Emily felt as if they were stepping into a new light. "I want this," she confessed, her voice steady and strong. "I want us to understand each other, not just deal with the aftermath. I want to know why you left so we can find true healing." Her mother nodded, tears shining. "I promise I'll share everything, the good and the bad." "Us too," her father added, raw sincerity spilling forth. "No more secrets. We'll confront what's been haunting us." With newfound determination strengthening their resolve, Emily suddenly felt it, a shift, a weight lifting. The storms they faced, together, were nothing compared to the power generated through their open hearts. "Together?" Jordan nudged her shoulder gently, eyes alight with an encouraging challenge. "Together," Emily echoed, glancing back at her parents. Each nod was filled with promise, not just to one another, but for the future they could build. As the wind howled outside, the storm no longer felt like a ghost trying to consume them. It felt like a cleansing force, clearing away the old and bringing in the new. Emily's heart surged with hope and excitement, a symphony rising within her. "Mom, Dad, let us talk," she said, a ripple of courage coursing through her. "Let us find our way back to each other. This was the moment we were meant to confront our past." And in that moment, standing together against the chaos of the world outside, Emily felt more alive than she had in years. This was not just about love lost or found. This was about family forged anew, surrounded by laughter, and bound by resilience. The wind's fury outside swirled to life, Emily made a vow to embrace whatever came next with open arms. Finally, she felt ready to rise from the ashes of grief toward the warmth of a family rekindled. And together they would weather every future storm. This was not an ending. This was the beginning of something beautiful to everyone watching. This is your moment to take action. You need to subscribe now to catch the next incredible story. Don't wait not even one more second. Hit that like button now to feed the algorithm and help spread these empowering tales. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation in their lives. Leave a comment below expressing your thoughts and feelings about this emotional journey. This is the moment to show your support. Let's keep building this incredible community together.